Okay everybody, welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to be taking this trim and replacing the cheap pot metal small block with a steel GFS block that's a bigger block. So it's going to help things out, give it a little more sustain hopefully, but also it's going to help balance it out, so make it not have some neck dive so bad. It'll give it a little more weight down here, it'll help a little bit. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get these springs out of the way. Get that done. Okay, one thing that I can do is turn the saddles up edgeways to get to the screws, but that takes a little time. So I'm just going to go ahead, since they're not intonated anyway, just go ahead and just take the saddles off and it'll be easier to show you what we're doing. Alright, set them out of the way. Okay, we got three screws that hold this on. Okay. All right. You can see from the top, there doesn't look like there's that much difference. Now this one's a little bit wider, so I probably have to clearance a little bit in the body with the Dremel just a little bit to get it to fit. Sometimes you do. But when you turn it this way, you can really tell the difference in the size. And this thing's super light. I mean, it's just pot metal, cheap pot metal junk. So, this is cheap Chinese steel junk. But anyway, it'll be better than what was in it. So, I'm going to put it in there and we're going to see how close we are as far as clearance goes, because on a lot of these I end up having to slightly enlarge the area. I can tell it's already, it's going to be too tight. Okay, go ahead and take this plate off. Okay, what I used is just this Dremel or rotary tool. It's not a Dremel, it's a rotary tool. It's actually a Harbor Freight Classic, and I just removed a little bit of wood on this upper side just to give that bigger block just a little bit more clearance. But I just used a little sanding drum I think it's going to be sufficient. You don't want to cut out so much that when you put your trim back on that you have, have a hole right there, but you want to get enough room to where it'll work. So while we got this thing out, we'll go ahead and install the block on it while we got it out of the guitar. And I'm hoping the screws that I had in the old one will work in this one. Just set it down here. It ain't gonna hurt this thing if it's scratched, because it's a relic after all. Custom shop. Let's see if I'm in the right direction here. The first one they sent, if you know, in the other video, was the wrong one. It was for an American string spacing. Let's see if this is gonna fit. Oh yeah. It was for American string spacing. So I just ordered this one. I just ordered a steel block. Kind of curious as to if the brass and the steel make any difference. Plus it was a couple bucks cheaper. But they did send me the wrong one to start with. And I didn't, by the time I sent it back, paid the shipping, whatever, it wasn't worth that. Plus I've got another job coming up where I'm actually can use that exact block, so I wasn't out anything on that. So they just made a mistake on that. They sent me, it was the right part number, just the wrong part. So, it probably got put in the wrong bin, or somebody just grabbed it out of the wrong bin or whatever. Okay, we'll get these tight so we don't have nothing happening here. All right. So there we go with that. Get our screws put back in. I'm going to be having a video, probably one of the next ones, on the Telecaster build that I'm going to be doing. And I've got almost everything. I've got all the parts either ordered or here. So once everything comes in, we'll lay it all out, look at what each, what everything is. Then what I'll do is put it together and make sure everything's going to fit, everything lines up, everything's the way it's supposed to be. And then pull it back apart, paint the body, then reassemble it. And it's going to be a Squier, so that's going to be, I think, pretty cool. And what I'm using good hardware, good components. Kind of be curious to see what I end up with as far as price wise, because it should be equivalent to a made in Mexico telly, or better, most actually better. So it's going to be interesting to see. Don't want to get these down too far and bind your trim. Don't want them sticking way up either, so. There we go. We got plenty of clearance now. Oh yeah. Now this thing is almost flush with the back of the body, and this is the import steel block. So you're not going to be able to use a rear cover on this if you install one of these. You're not going to be able to use that rear cover because your springs are going to stick up slightly. right. Yeah, I'm going to try to get it where you can see. I don't know if you can see or not, but it's pretty well flush. But you can see how the springs stick up ever so slightly out of the back. So if you want to put one of these in, you want your back cover, then too bad. So sad. But anyway, that's that in. And you can feel a little difference in it. You know, this guitar has the big 70s style headstock. It being a smaller body, Affinity body, it actually is it had a little bit of neck dive, but you know, this is going to help it. So now I've got to reinstall all the saddles, and we'll go from there. Okay, that's the saddles put back on. I still have to set, you know, string it up, put the set the intonation, string heights, and all that. But that's a whole nother video right there. So let's see. Let's check out our whammy bar just to make sure that it's going to work. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're in good shape. So, okay, that's about it with that. That's how you install a block, a bigger block in a trem, on the Strat anyway. Not a whole lot to it. Like I say, you'll have to most likely clearance that little lip at the top of the cavity. I mean, it's awful close, but it's a lot bigger. But there is clearance. There's nothing, you know, it all works. So anyway, that's another deal, you know. So maybe this is helpful if you're thinking about doing that. Something to think about, you know, if you're using a classic vibe, a standard, SE, they're full thickness bodies, as far as I know, all of them. Some of the older Affinities, whatever, are full thickness bodies. A lot of the Koreans, Squiers are not. So, you know, that's the only issue you're going to have is back here on the back with you want this cover on. Is, you know, but now Guitar Fetish is good to have on their page with these. They've got all the measurements and everything. So, you know, measure it out, make sure that you're going to get the right one. They got several different ones. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, and if it was, give me a thumbs up. If it was unhelpful and boring, give me a thumbs up anyway. And if you hadn't subscribed, please consider subscribing and hit the little bell and get all the updates. And like I said, we got a good telly bill coming up and several other things. I got a banjo I'm fixing to do some work on. So anyway, until the next time, see you.